Attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, autism, children's behavioral and mental health issues we certainly knew very little about 30 or 40 years ago. But today, as we learn more, we're also discovering that more and more children are being diagnosed. For example, according to a national survey of children's health, in 2003, there were alone 4.4 million children diagnosed with ADHD, and by 2011, that number had skyrocketed to 6.4 million. In 8 years, there were 2 million more children diagnosed with ADHD. According to the Autism Research Foundation, back in 1975, there was a 1 in 5,000 chance that a child will be diagnosed with autism. Today, that number is 1 in 45. Why is there such a tremendous increase in these diagnoses? Why do we find that more than 50% of children today are dealing with one sort of chronic illness? Joining us today in studio with some insights and some answers is Dr. John Duong, founder of Healing Habits. And Dr. Duong, always good to have you with us on the program. Why is this? Why do we see such a sudden spike in the number of children being diagnosed with everything from autism to ADHD in such a short period of time?
What happened is the pathway that we are heading towards as a healthcare provider. Are we providing the right care for this populations? Is that what we need to do is that not only diagnose the problem, what are the cause of those problems that we need to address, but also like once there's the issue with the problem, how can we fix it? That's how I'm here to discuss how can we help these kids, because that's where my hearts are. Because not only the ADD, ADHD, and autistic kids is not only affecting the kids himself or herself, but also the whole family. So I put my heart into in terms of finding out what is the underlying reason for it, and then also how can we improve these people better quality lives.
For the benefit, doctor, of those listening, go through, if you would, what are some of the typical ADHD and ADD or autism symptoms?
Some of the symptoms is like behavioral or the conduct problem, and some of those kids do have anxiety, depressions as well, and then inattentiveness, emotional or behavioral disorder, learning issue, okay, have problem like learning, and their brain is just like for autisms is the brain is like 18 years old, but their capacity of understanding is like 3 or 4 years old. There's a learning disability, verbal communications, right? So those are all symptoms. So we don't diagnose and then just give them a label. We are here to say, hey, these are just the symptoms. This is one of the symptoms that's hindering their functional capacity. So how can we recognize the symptoms? What can we do naturally to support this? So now the kids can return back to normal and have a better quality of life. I'll just share with you some of the examples. Like for example, inattentiveness behaviors, disruptions in class, ADD, ADHD. Let's talk about ADHD, like disruptive in class. Usually that's like a dopamine issue. Like if you see a doctor, oh, there's a dopamine and some medication. No, a better way of taking a look at this and start asking questions is that, what is this issue? Is it a inflammatory process that's affecting the brain? Like in 2015, the psychiatric world, they has more information. So now they have a new technology, the PET scans, that's able to detect the information in the brain. So we need to find out, is this kid has that inflammatory process in the brain? Is that information is an issue? How do we find out? Genetic testing will give us some more indication to see if there's weaknesses in this area. In particular, like I said, the PET scan earlier, what they were able to identify is the information in the microglia cells. The microglia cells are the cells in the brain that's responsible for the immune information. So inflammatory process, the information of the body system, that's what we need to look at.
So you're suggesting a major difference here, where heretofore typically parents were given a label for their child, but very often no answers.
Yes. Some answers, like with medications, and some it works initially, and then later on through the stage, it doesn't seem to be effective. Like autistic kids is pretty much that's the labeling. And the inattentiveness is like those kids that's lack of focus. They sit in the back of the classroom. They're like inactive and then lacking of focus, had a hard time concentrating and learning. That's the ADD. Okay. So why did the kids present with these symptoms? Is there's an issue? Information, like I mentioned earlier, in the brain can be an issue. That's why information can allowing these kids, some days they have a good days, they are normal, and some days they are very aggressive. Okay, why is this behavior? It usually is not a neurotransmitter issue, it's the information. So that's why the PET scan in 2015 are able to identify the inflammatory process, in particular causing inflammations in the brain area. So that's one of the examples that we have to further investigate inflammations. The other one is autophagy. Autophagy. What's autophagy? It's a cellular recycling system in our body. So now the body is able to recycle and the old cell to make new cell. So if you have autophagy, a genetic issue, not an issue, but a weakness in the genetic, the cellular level is not recycling the way it should be there. So therefore, there is more trash that's building up around that, the cellular level. So it's not functioning the way it should be. So most of these kids with ADD, ADHD, they have an autophagy issue. That's why it's linked into their information of the brain and also the neurological issue. And another way that we take a look is look at the neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters is like, is it the dopamine issue, or is it a lack of focus issue that's more? And then also that's kids that has like hard time, like sometimes they have a hard time sleeping. What's the issue? Can it be a GAX genes issue? So the bottom line is that we need to look at the true weaknesses of the body and correlate with the symptoms, and then we have a better pictures of finding out what's wrong with with these kids and supporting them so they can function and have a better quality lives.
One of the big questions, of course, at the end of the day is what sort of natural pathways towards not just diagnosing what the problem is, discovering what the underlying symptoms are, and then ultimately addressing those issues. And I know certainly that you've had a lot of pioneering research in this arena and tremendous developments, for example, in the arena of diabetes. So is it the same level here in terms of taking a look at DNA, looking at the underlying causes and actually treating the cause as opposed to the symptom?
That's exactly what we have to do. This is what a practitioner should do is find out the underlying cause of the problem. Like for example, a diabetic. Next time, the next topic is going to be diabetes for us, so that our audience can understand. Diabetic is not the blood sugar problem. Diabetic is usually insulin resistant. A lot of people know about that. What is causing the body to have more insulin is usually autophagy. So we need to understand, is there a weakness in the genetic level that causing the body not to recycle the way it should be? So for kids that has some that issue, autophagy is an issue as well. So we need to look deep underlying reasoning of why there's the weaknesses in the body.
And then I would imagine from what you're suggesting, then create a plan of action that helps the body begin to heal itself, that supports the systems within the body that can address some of these deficiencies.
That's exactly what we have to do. Find out the weaknesses, supporting the body with the right food, supplements, so now the body can heal. That's the pathway that we have to take to heal any chronic condition that the body has.
Certainly today, Dr. Dong, you have piqued the interest of all listeners that might have a child or a grandchild or a niece or a nephew that's suffering from anything from ADHD to ADD to autism. If folks want to get more information, I understand that you offer a complimentary 15-minute telephone consultation, and they can also call and get more information and ask some questions, can't they?
Yes, of course. I really have the heart of helping and improving the whole family's quality of life. So they can always call for like consultation with me, 15 minutes consult, or my staff can give them more information to understand about this topic, so everyone can benefit.
For so many families, this is a fearful and confusing topic, and so perhaps it's high time to get better information and then execute a plan that essentially will help the body heal itself. For more information or to take advantage of that complimentary 15-minute telephone consultation, call Dr. John Duong toll-free at 800-524-2348. That's 800-524-2348. Again, that initial consultation is absolutely free, and he's always happy to answer questions. 800-524-2348. You can also get more information online at drduonglive.com. That's doctor abbreviated DR, Dr. Duong, D-O-U-N-G, live.com. You'll also find a variety of insightful and informative YouTube videos. Simply go to YouTube and look for Dr. Duong Healing Habits, and you'll get the entire library right there on YouTube, absolutely free. Again, Dr. Duong Healing Habits on YouTube, or go online to drduonglive.com. That's drduonglive.com, or toll free 800-524-2348. Dr. Duong, we'll look forward to our next visit, get some more insights from you on another issue that affects millions of Americans, and that's the topic of diabetes.
Yes, we'll see you next time.
Again, 800-524-2348. drduonglive.com.